Your savings rate is the most important part of building wealth, so having a budget that works for you is crucial. Welcome to Get Started Investing, a podcast where we unpack everything that you need to know to start or grow your investing journey. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you going?
I'm very good, Bryce. Very excited for this episode. Very excited to continue this series. We're up to part 2 of our 5-part series to help us set up 2025 to be our most financially successful yet.
Absolutely. We're guiding you through the essentials. We've covered off this building a strong foundations. We're going to be setting up the right tools to master your savings, investing and spending. And by the end of this journey, you'll have the knowledge and skills to tackle the year ahead with confidence and to smash your financial goals.
Now, when we talk about saving and budgeting, there's one platform that we use that's really helped us on our investing journeys. And we want to give a shout out to for this episode. The platform is PocketSmith.
Yeah.
Now, for people who haven't heard of PocketSmith, they were founded in New Zealand in 2008, and they're an all-in-one personal finance platform.
Yeah.
And when we say all-in-one, it's everything.
It's everything.
Net worth tracking, spend tracking. You can forecast different things and plan different scenarios and financial decisions.
Yes.
Honestly, it's like Bryce's dream platform.
It is. I love it. And we'll unpack some of the ways in which we use it in a moment. But not only that, you get your superannuation, you get your banks, your brokers. ShareSite can even plug into it. You name it, it'll show you your complete financial picture.
So if you want to check it out, if you want to see your complete financial picture, PocketSmith has a special deal for Equity Mates and Get Started Investing listeners. Get 50% off your first 2 months of PocketSmith's foundation plan by going to pocketsmith.com/equitymates. All right, Bryce, well, you started this episode by saying the most important thing you can do is increase your savings rate. So that's really what we're going to try and achieve in this episode. What are we going to cover to get there?
Today is all about budgets and understanding goals versus being intentional with your money.
The most boring start to an episode. Today is all about budgets.
I'm loving this episode. We're going to go through the basics of building a budget and how we do it, and how we are also trying to maximize our savings rate so that in the next 2 episodes, we can put that additional cash flow to work and build wealth in 2025. That's the exciting part. So if you think budgets are boring, you're wrong.
Well, the good news, Bryce, is we're not alone. You're not the only person who thinks budgeting is exciting.
Yep.
There are thousands of members of the Equity Mates and Get Started Investing community that are on this journey with us.
I think a financial basic that everyone should have is being able to track their spending, whether that be monthly or yearly expenses like car insurances or mortgages, to then be able to create a budget and know where your money is kind of going each pay cycle.
Pay yourself first, even if it's just that 10%.
One basic rule that I always follow is to pay myself first on payday.
Saving, making sure you're staying on top of your savings, managing your expenses. It could be either budgeting or trying to identify one or the other ways of growing your money, even if it's as simple as finding a high yield account.
Thank you for those members who let us know their feelings about budgeting in 2025. Now, I said at the top that we're going to look at the difference between setting goals and being intentional with your money, because there is nuance between the two.
Yeah, and I think we start here because one of the first things you'll hear when you speak to an advisor or a financial professional, it's understanding your goals. And I think for a lot of people, the obvious goal is I just want to have more money. Like I don't have a specific goal that I'm working towards. I don't have a specific timeline that I want to achieve something in. And like I put my hand up and I'm in this category. Like my goals are as annoyingly vague as they can be. My goals are like flexibility and choice and financial
For any advisors
freedom.
listening, God, nightmare.
And it's like, what timeline do I want to achieve that in? Like as soon as possible. And what level of risk do I want to take? And it's like
Lots.
yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's just I think a lot of people are in my boat.
Yeah.
I reckon you're probably
Definitely.
in my boat.
Yeah. I mean, I have specific shorter term goals, but I think it's really challenging to set a 40-year goal beyond those buzzwords.
Yeah. And so that's where we say like goals are important and you should think about that. But underlying it, what everyone should be doing at all times, even if you don't have a specific goal, is being intentional with your money.
Yeah, I think that's when I think about truly what you and I both, like the goal really is to be doing the absolute best we can right now with our money.
Yes.
Like, it's like we want to uncover all the opportunities, lay them in front of us, and just make sure that we're optimized the best we can.
Yeah, we want to understand all the opportunities, access the best of them, and have the money to access them in meaningful ways.
Yes.
And that having the money to access them in meaningful ways means we need to increase our savings rate.
Yeah.
So when we talk about being intentional, there's probably like two parts to it. The first is like being aware of where your money is going. What are the subscriptions you've signed up to that you've forgotten about? When's the last time you looked at your bank statement and you weren't surprised by anything that was listed there? And that's where PocketSmith has been really good for me personally. Like getting that granular detail of like, oh wow, I spent that much on lunches, or like, oh wow, that subscription hasn't been cancelled. Like there's nowhere to hide on PocketSmith.
No.
And that's quite valuable for me because I thrive in hiding. So that's the first part, being aware. Then the second part is being considerate. So once you know what's happening, then it's like making considered and thoughtful choices about how you're spending and where you're choosing not to spend.
Yeah.
And so even if you don't have a big goal, being aware and being considerate, we think together is being intentional. And that's what everyone should be with their money at all times. Even if it's just, I want to get rich as quick as possible is the goal.
Yeah. So we need to figure out the best way to actually build a budget, and there are multiple ways that you can build budgets. Everyone has a different view on how to manage their money, and there is no right or wrong way. The end goal here is just to maximize how much we're saving so that we can invest. But before you actually create the budget, you need to have a solid view on where your money's going, what you're spending on, and what's coming in and what's coming out, because I think I've seen a lot of people, and I was one of them early days university, you try and make a budget based on finger in the air, and also an optimistic budget. Yeah, I'll be able to save that, no dramas. I'll be able to spend $100 a week, and that just doesn't play out. So this is, again, one of the beauties of PocketSmith. It tells you exactly where your money is going, and you can categorize every single transaction. Ren, you went deep on this.
Yeah, so
you had all sorts of categories going on.
Well, this has been a long-running thing for me. People who are new to get started investing may not be aware, but I didn't get in trouble, but a couple of years ago, I had a bit of a go at Commonwealth Bank.
Yes.
And we met with Commonwealth Bank, and they told us they were aware that I had that go. But their categorization was like, there was predefined categories that was overly broad and general and didn't give you any insight into where your money was actually going. Like health and beauty is a very broad category if it includes like going to Chemist Warehouse and your gym membership.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
Yeah. So anyway, that's a rant for another time. But the thing that I did with PocketSmith, and the reason, and I'd been looking for a budgeting platform or a spend tracking platform where I could make my own categories. And PocketSmith lets you do that. But the good thing is they also let you make subcategories. And so for a couple of examples.
So like Uber Eats, and then you had like Vietnamese restaurant.
No. Well, no. So I had eating out as a category. And then I had subcategories of like where I was eating out. So Uber Eats was one subcategory.
Yeah.
And then another one was, there's this one Vietnamese roll place that we love in Coogee, Alice and I wanted to say how much we had spent just at that place.
Yeah.
And so I made a subcategory just for that place.
Nice.
And then similarly, another subcategory for eating out was coffees at work. Like how much am I actually spending buying coffees when I could just use the coffee machine that we have at work.
Yeah.
And so for me, like that level of granularity, and you don't have to be as pedantic as I do, but I think it just gives you real insight, not like high level general insight.
Yeah.
Another one, transport. Transport is a way overly broad category. And so for me, I've got subcategories. I've got Ubers, I've got the bus, and I actually don't have a car at the moment, but you can put petrol in there and stuff like that. And you can be like, okay, I know where my money is going.
Yeah. And once you get those categories set up, it does it all for you automatically. As soon as it hits the bank account, it's doing it in Pocketsmith. So you can log in at any time and get an up-to-date view on your spending for that quarter, month, week, day, whatever it might be. So the point here is to track your spending so that you can optimize for saving. Now, Ren, if you're looking in Pocketsmith, how much have you actually spent on Vietnamese hot rolls?
Well, good news, Bryce. Not as much as you would think.
Are these banh mi's?
No. The Vietnamese rolls with like the rice paper.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Only $40 in the last month.
Okay.
So that's not too bad.
Annualize that. $400 to $500 a year on.
Well, if you looked
Vietnamese hot rolls.
If you looked at my trailing 12 months, I would be averaging more than $40 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's Alice and I.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to cut it?
No, we're going to increase it. So I think one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, but will come out in the course of this episode, is the wedding industrial complex has its claws deep into my bank account at the moment.
Yeah.
And so the Pocketsmith reports do not look nice.
No.
But the good news is Alice and I now married.
Yes.
Now we can start getting back on the savings rate up and get back into the Vietnamese hot rolls.
It's a good feeling. All right, so we know where our money's going. Now it comes down to figuring out how you want to budget. Pocketsmith, you can budget in there. They have all the tools and resources to help you build a budget. In fact, they even suggest a budget based on your spending, so that is a great place to start. But there are other ways you can do it as well. A popular one is the zero-based budgeting, which is effectively where you take your income, you minus all of your expenses, and the goal is to have nothing left at the end of your budget.
Yeah, I mean, that's a confusing way of saying like every dollar should be accounted for.
Everything's accounted for.
And then the challenge is to stick to that budget.
Yeah.
It's like the traditional budget, when you were back on the spreadsheets, that's how you would have budgeted.
This is exactly how I budget.
Yeah, you said I'm going to get paid $2,000 this fortnight and I'm going to account for each one of those dollars, investing, savings account, groceries, transport, beers.
Yeah.
And then you're going through and making sure each of those line items are achieved.
Yes, yeah. This is exactly how I do it.
And who's got time for that?
It's the best thing to do.
So that's how you do it. I don't love it. I'm more of a pay yourself first kind of guy.
Okay.
And so what that means is I say, okay, what are my priorities? Saving and investing. And so when I get paid, that money automatically gets transferred into my high interest savings account. My mortgage gets transferred into my offset account, and my share market investing gets transferred into my brokerage account. And then the name of the game is to live on what's next. So you pay yourself first, you put your priorities first, you get that money to where it needs to go, and then whatever's left over is your spending money.
Yeah.
Much better way.
That works for you. That works for you. Another way that is you might often find in finance books and online is percentage based, kind of similar to what you were saying, Ren. But
yeah, this is Scott Pape's bucket.
Yeah,
budgets.
you sort of take 50% for all of your needs, your housing costs, bills, groceries, etc. 30% for wants, which is eating out, subscriptions, travel, those sorts of things, and then 20% goes into your savings and investing. So that's another sort of simple way to do it. But
I'm going to be honest. I hate this way of doing it. Like the idea of like predefined percentages before, it just doesn't it doesn't feel real.
Yeah,
and I feel at some points it makes your life overly hard, and at other points it makes your life overly easy.
Well, it's just not accurate.
Yeah, it's arbitrary.
Everyone, if everyone was to take 50% and put it in housing, bills, grocery, etc., like some people might completely overshoot that.
Put it this way, my mortgage is just shy of 50%.
I was just going to say that, exactly. Yeah. Most people, it's the worst way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the better way to do it would be to predefine your buckets based on what Pocketsmith tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is a better way of doing it. But the 30% rule or the 50-30-20 rule, those like arbitrary rules, I don't love. But again, There's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. The right way is to do something. The wrong way is to do nothing.
Yeah. Now, a reminder that we have a handbook that accompanies all of the episodes in this series. Specifically in this one, you'll find a link in the show notes. There are templates to help you budget, as well as links through to Pocketsmith, where you can get that deal exclusive to the Equity Mates community. Now it's about how we maximize the savings rate so that we can invest. What are your thoughts, Ren? How are you doing that?
Well, as I said, the last few months have been negative cash flow for me.
Yeah.
I also had to sell some crypto, which was unfortunate. But I think for me, 2025 is a normalization year. And so the first thing is, once again, really just knowing where my money is going, like being intentional and trying to get back to like what a normal level of spending is. About 6 months ago on the podcast, you and I compared our spending and saving. We compared Pocketsmith accounts basically. So we get paid the same, but what we found was that your savings rate was meaningfully higher than mine. What you save about 30% of your after-tax income, and I was at about 18%, and that's savings and investing combined. And so I want to work to try and get closer to your level.
Yeah.
There's, unfortunately for me, my mortgage is a higher percentage of my take-home pay than yours. So there's not much I can do there. But around that, I think there's a number of things that I can do, a number of spending categories that I think are low-hanging fruit for me. So I did a big subscription cull at the end of last year. KO got the flick. Unfortunately, when footy comes back around, it'll probably get resubscribed.
Say, what the hell?
Well, you can watch cricket on free-to-air.
Yep.
And anyway, different story.
Yeah.
But a bunch of the entertainment ones, like I've still got Netflix. Don't pay for it, which is nice. But a bunch of them don't have anymore.
Yeah.
I was getting in bad habits, and I can see it in Pocketsmith, with just like buying coffees again and work lunches and stuff like that. So just getting more disciplined there again. And so for me, it's just like, I guess, getting a bit of discipline back.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's one of the things that I really like about Pocketsmith is that it shows you trends. And I think I spoke about this on the show before, but the period, we've just had coming through Christmas into the new year was a real watch out period for me, a period that I would often blow my budgets because of, festivities and all those sorts of things. So watch out on that. But a few tips on maximizing your savings and just sticking to budgets. Something that Ren and I talk a lot about is automating, making sure that you're automating as much of your money management as possible. So you're taking away the emotion of things, sending money to accounts and letting that be the way that you manage your money. It really avoids you pulling money out. For me, maximizing my budget, I think regular review of things like bills, mortgage, investment costs, bank accounts, like they're all small things, but they do go a long way. So taking the time to review that. And one thing that Harriet and I are really trying when it comes to it is never a small thing, but never paying full price for consumer goods.
Okay.
Everything's just always on sale if you wait for it, if that makes sense. So let's say, for example, you want a new saucepan or like kitchen set of some description. At some point, it's going to go on sale. So be patient. I know it's a small thing, but it does help that savings rate.
Yeah. Now, I haven't used either of these apps, but or like Google Chrome extensions, but two that I've come across that might be helpful to you. Have you heard of Honey? They advertise a lot on.
Yes, I have.
That they, every time you go to buy something, they search if there's any like coupon codes or discount codes that you can use. But the other one, I think it might just be for Amazon, but you can do your own research on this. It's Camel. It like tracks Amazon prices over time and tells you when things go on sale.
Oh, right.
So
nice.
That I haven't used either of them, but just two that.
Well, there you
I've
go.
heard advertised.
We'll include links to those in the handbook. Now, that brings us to the end of today's episode. All things budget, a reminder of the handbook, where there are some templates to help you work through your budget. And also a big thank you to Pocketsmith, who are a long-term partner of Equity Mates and have an awesome platform that integrates your superannuation, your bank details, your brokers, even ShareSite to give you a full, complete financial picture.
Yeah, if you don't want to hide from your spending in 2025, if this is the year you're going to increase your savings rate so you can use that money to pay down your debt, start investing, and make 2025 your best financial year yet, then whether or not budgeting is sexy, it is certainly important, and PocketSmith can help. So go to pocketsmith.com/equitymates to get 50% off your first 2 months of PocketSmith's foundation plan. Get budgeting. Bryce will think it's sexy.
Always.
And we'll move on to the real sexy stuff in the next few episodes.
Yes, we continue next week where we're doing a deep dive on the best apps, accounts, and brokers to get you started on your investing journey. So stick around. We'll be back next week.